Hey there guys, it's Rick here. Hope you're all doing extremely well. I know I am. Welcome to today's lesson. What have I called it? Yes, I know what I've called it. The best lesson you've never had. Okay, actually that's wrong on two counts. For one, you may well have had this lesson. And for two, it's not necessarily the best lesson either. It's extremely important, and this is why I'm showing it you. And it pertains to improvisation and fretboard knowledge. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Talking about titles, it's one of the things that I find the most awkward when I'm doing YouTube videos. I do the video and then I sit there going, what am I going to call this? How about this? No, that's crap. Okay. How about this? No, that's crap. What about this? No, that's utter shite. And I sit there for hours just going, man, I can't think of a title. But anyway, I managed to think of a title for this. But when I do put titles in, I get absolutely trounced in the comments section for it. But hey, it is what it is. So anyway, I'm digressing again. So let's get straight to the heart of the matter. We're going to work on a great technique that opens up the fretboard to give you more fretboard knowledge and specifically to allow you to improvise more freely without worrying whereabouts you are on the fretboard. That was a big thing for me, and I've spent many years to try and feel comfortable in every single area of the fretboard and put myself in those awkward positions so that I really know where I am when I move positions. So I don't want any area of the fretboard where I don't know what I'm doing in terms of the shapes and the harmony, the chords, okay? So this is extremely important. So let's get straight to it, okay? First off, the key to this, what I'm going to show you, is to stay in one position when we are moving through a chord progression. Rather than moving all the way up the fretboard like this, we want to stay in one position when we're playing chords. And we want to do the same thing with scales as well. We don't want to be moving our scales around. We want to be able to stay in one position and change the scale accordingly, according to when the chords change. Okay, so first thing is you need 5 shapes for this example, so I'm going to show you what the shapes are. Okay, so our first shape starts here, root on the 6th. Okay, that's the other important thing. We need to know exactly, with the chords that we're playing, where the root is for that chord. Okay, so root is on the 6th, there. Okay, you'll notice that looks just like an E7 shape, but it's movable up to the 3rd fret, so that's G7. Okay, second shape, what we're going to do is just change the position here. So we're going to use our 3rd finger, and we're going to play this, which is a G7 shape, okay, which happens to be the open shape anyway. Okay, so we've got 2 chords with a root on the 6th. Okay, then the next shape we want is this, which looks like the A7 shape. It's actually a C7 sounding chord, and the root is here on the 5th string. Okay, good. Next chord shape here, that looks like an open C7 chord, but it's here, so it's a D7 chord. Okay, and our root is here. So we've got 2 chords with the root on the 5th string. Then finally, the last chord, the root on the 4th string, looks like this. And that looks like an open D7 chord. Okay, so our root note is here. So we've only got 1 chord whose root is on the 4th string. So all the others, we have 2 chords with a root note on each string. So let me just repeat that so you're fully aware of it. First chord shape is this with a root on the 6th. Next chord shape with the root on the 6th is that. Okay. Next, 5th string. Okay, and then finally this shape. So you've got to memorize those chords in those positions. Okay. So perfect example to show you how this works is with a blues progression. So we're going to use a simple 1-4-5 chord progression. All the chords are dominant chords. So in the key of G, we would have G7, C7, D7. Okay, so this is our first position, and notice that I'm staying in the same position. I'm not moving at all. All the chords exist in this area of the fretboard. Okay, so we have to put a scale with each one of those chords, and that's what we're going to do right now. G7, so our scale will look like this. notes that fit around this chord. Okay, it's okay to move either a semitone lower or semitone higher within a position, but no more than that. Okay, so once more. So that's the scale that fits with this chord. Incidentally, it's Mixolydian mode, so formula is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, okay? And now that stays the same with each one of our scales, the formula, that is. So we're going to now move to our 4 chord, which is C7, so that's the A7 shape, right here. Okay, so root on the 5th, so we've got the root movement goes from 1 to 4. So the scale that fits with this is this. More. Good, and then we go to our 5 chord, which is here, D7. Okay, and the scale that fits with that is okay. So we have our root movement, 1, 4, 5, the chords, and the scales that fit with the chords. So when you move from 1 to 4, you have to change your scale accordingly. So, and again, we've just stayed in that one area of the fretboard. Good. Right, now we get to the next position. So here's our G7 chord. The next available position for a G7 chord is this. It's our D7 shape. Okay. So now what we have to do is we have to find G7, C7 and D7 in this area of the fretboard. Okay. So the best thing to do is look for our roots. So root movement, 1, 4, 5. Remember what I said before about the root of each chord? Okay. Our 4 is here, and because it's here with a little finger, if we moved up here, we're moving out of position, so we've got to stay in position. We end up with this, remember the G7 chord shape, which is down here? That's our 4 chord, okay? So we have, and then staying in the same position is our D7. Okay, so scales. Okay. And for this one, I've already done this one back here. Okay, good. So that's all the chords, the 3 chords for the blues in this area of the fretboard with the scales to fit. Okay, you see where I'm going with this? Good. Really essential, this. Okay, now we're going to move to the next available position. So we've had root, root. Where's the next available root for a G? It's here. Okay, and we're going to do the next position. See, we've just moved up here. We're not missing any area of the fretboard here. So we end up with the C7, open C7 chord shape here for the G. So our root movement, 1, 4, 5. So here's our first chord. C. And then, can you see what we did there? Okay. So there's our first chord with a root here. And then the 4 chord and then the 5 chord. Okay. And again, we've shifted out of this position. We're into the next position. So, scale. Okay. Good, so that's the next available position. So let's move to the next, let's find our next position. So we've had G here. Where is the next available G note? It's here. So if our root is here, we don't want to miss out, I'm sorry, I've just missed out a position here. It's here, it's the same note, but we're going to use the index finger, okay? So we play the A shape here, okay? So we've already played G7, so our root movement, 1, 4, 5, okay? So we're going to put this an octave lower, because otherwise that would mean we'd have to change position for this chord. So we have, and again we're staying in the same position. So scale. Chord number 4. Sorry. And then chord number 5. Whoops, bollocks, I'm messing it up here. Okay, good. And then the final position, the one that I jumped ahead and did before, is our G root. So we want 1, 4, 5. Okay, so here we play the G, open G shape here, then the D7, C7 shape. In this chord, it's a C7 anyway. And then finally, this shape, the D7 shape, which is a D7. Okay, so let's do the scales that fit with those. So that's our first chord. Then to the 4. And the 5. Okay, good. And then we've done all the positions. We're back to G7. Okay, good. So hopefully you see the value in this specific lesson here. What we're doing is we have to be aware of, for one, the root movement of each chord. So we're playing a blues, 1, 4, 5, all dominant chords. So you need to know where the root is for each position. And then put the chord with each root note. Bollocks. And then all the way to the top, okay? And you've got to put the scale with each position. And again, like I said before, you're staying in the same position for all 4 chords. See what I mean? So this allows you to be completely free with your improvisation. So wherever you find yourself on the fretboard, you will know where you are because you'll have practiced those 3 chords in every single position available. Okay, so I found this when I first really came across this and started to practice it. I found it completely liberating in terms of, you know, being free on the fretboard. It just blew my mind how much more comfort it gave me, and sort of gave me the freedom to try lots of different things once I'd really, you know, established those basic blues changes, you know. It's just such a powerful tool. So this is why I'm sharing it with you guys. So first step is to practice those 5 shapes. Make sure you know them back to front and apply it to a blues progression, because you can keep it nice and simple. And the blues is just such an important part of developing your improvisation skills, in my opinion. It's the foundation for jazz, basically. So it's essential that you develop, if you want to develop your improvisation skills, you've got to be able to you know, negotiate blues changes. And remember as well, we stay in one position and alter your chord and your scale accordingly, okay? Notice I didn't do any 3-note per string things here, because that completely moves out of position, and we don't want to do that. We want to stay in one area of the fretboard. 3-note per string stuff is really useful. I still practice it a lot now, but when you're doing this kind of thing, it's not required, okay? So I think here endeth the lesson. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you practice hard with this kind of stuff. And what I used to do is go to the areas of the fretboard that I felt less comfortable with and work on those. Because the ones that you're going to be comfortable with are obviously the first position. because that's where everybody starts. It's a bit like when you're playing scales. Everybody's comfortable with the first position of a major scale. By the time you get higher up on the fretboard or to position 7, that's when people start losing it, because they practice from position 1 rather than practicing position 7. So you've got to work on the weaker areas of your fretboard knowledge and you know, build them into strengths. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this lesson. Just a quick reminder, 50% off my lesson downloads. Get on it. Link is in description box below. It's a great way to support what I do so I can make videos like this for you guys. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next video. Cheers.